Hi, I'm Dan,
And I'm Eric.
and you are due for a sharpening.
Get the last one out
10:30.
before 10:30.
Welcome to Due for a Sharpening. I'm Dan. It's been a busy week. We have a lot to get into today.
Are you gonna make a cake now? You sound just like
All right, I killed that dude who was pretending to be British me.
Oh, okay.
It's an amazing accent you have.
You need I know. You need help getting rid of that British dude.
Like his body?
Right.
Yeah, I'll just put him on dry ice.
Send his
With
asshole
the rest of the, there we go.
To the moon.
So, yeah. Like, I don't think this is the butthole that I guessed right on that on that thing that no one listening knows what we're talking about.
This is why
but
we need
they're
to
right.
record.
It wouldn't be the same one.
We need to record
a severely British
pre-show.
looking butthole.
Right. It's got like tea and crumpets in it.
Big old gnarly teeth.
Age 17.
It owns a sugar plantation. Anyway.
Yeah, this is great. How's it going?
Not much has changed since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, this is great. This is fun. It's hard to let's feign it. You know, this is we're at the cabin right now. Or, we'll be in like 2 days.
I hope something's swinging.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny because like Dad in the last few days has said, oh, there's no deer around here because last winter was really harsh and blah, blah, blah. And then we all have 2 or 3 bucks showing up on camera. Not that we'll see any of them in the day, in the daylight. So it doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, I don't hold out for any kind of, predetermined success or anything. Kind of like the camera thing. I mean, I think you did cameras early enough this year to where it actually could have made sense the way you're supposed to use them.
Right.
You use a bunch of spots, you put cameras out, and then you determine based off of what you find on the camera, which one of those spots you should use. The way we do it is just like, all right, there's something here. Yeah, but we're not changing spots regardless of what we do or don't see on the cameras.
I guess a consolation would be we can at least figure out if the same deer is coming back for weeks at a time. But then
didn't get eaten.
Right. But then the rut starts and, they're all chasing tail. They don't care.
They're all over the place. So,
right.
Maybe we see something. Maybe you see something that you haven't seen. Maybe you don't see shit.
Right.
Just sit there and sleep in the blind. Just a good excuse to sleep outside without not being at work.
I know Dad's going to sleep a lot because he just bought a new tent and it's insulated, like quilted.
It is?
Yeah,
no
dude.
Way.
So, and it's gigantic. So it's a 3-person blind. And yeah, it's quilted like an ice fishing shack.
Shit.
So he's going to turn that heater on, and 10 seconds later, he's going to be conked out.
Oh, yeah. Snoozing.
Mm-hmm.
Blind naps are the best, though.
Absolutely.
It's the best sleep you're ever going to get.
You're trying to fight it, and you do the nodding off thing for like a half hour straight, and you're like, oh, my neck hurts.
Yeah, because then you're like, well, literally like 18 minutes just went by with a blink of an eye. I wake up.
I kind of want to time it.
Yeah. Yeah, you should film yourself.
Right.
I also like doing that because it's cool to perhaps open your eyes back up and see something in your lane.
That wasn't there.
Right.
Apparently 2 seconds ago.
Like, I woke up and a deer heard me snoring or something. Didn't give a shit because, yeah. But we will also be missing
Yeah.
hockey games. Every time you go do something like that, you don't get to see what's happening. So since I saw you last, Eric, you obviously rewatched that game against Boston. Since this is later. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This isn't today.
So describe the ways in which you were impressed by that game and its video representation.
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. That's too much, man. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, but we can at least listen to those games on the radio, before we go to bed.
I love it, dude.
6 o'clock.
I'm stoked. Yep. Had the big time change this morning.
Oh, that sucks. Time. I ruined it. I ruined the time change because I woke up and I hadn't reset my watch yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was 8 o'clock. And I'm like, I got to get up because we got to start doing stuff soon. But everyone else in the cabin still passed out. So I wake up and then I'm past the point of no return. Like, yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Oh, wait. Nope, it's 7 o'clock. God damn it. I could have slept for another hour and not felt bad about it. So I went down and I put coffee on the stove and then I went and took a nap on the recliner.
You woke up and the coffee was just overflowing and boiling on everything. And
you should have seen it, dude.
No, it's somebody else's problem.
I made some Appalachian Mountain sludge for coffee this morning. It was just black thick. It came out like oil. It was great.
That would kill me. That would jump through the window like MK Ultra. Well, you don't know shit?
I know shit.
It was the CIA's experiment to give people LSD every day for a year.
Right.
And one such subject jumped out a window and died.
Okay, I didn't know that particular detail.
Gaslighting people with hallucinogens by not telling them you're giving them that. So the guy just thought he was going fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
Right. So I would feel that way by drinking the coffee you made. So now that we've...
Oh, no. I felt great.
Explained all that, and the joke is gone, and the wit is out the door, or the window rather. But
wit out the window.
Without further ado, the Cricket New York Orchestra. He's got a sinister look on his face when he pressed that thing. It's just riding through it.
It's like whenever you would do the horns.
Like surges were coming through his fingertips or something. Yes, crickets, artificial crickets. Fuck these guys. Fuck them. Who wants to hear
so I was looking something up earlier, and I actually found something that I had no idea of in passing, because it made mention in half a sentence. It was about who was it? Let me go back. Hold on.
This is going great.
Yeah, we're great. Shut up. Anyway, so someone ended up being the only player to ever score a hat trick in an overtime.
Reggie Leach.
Nope.
How do you score a hat trick in an overtime, Eric?
Right. Thank you. So, and that is exactly what I asked. I'm like, how does that work? So, yeah, I did some digging, and sure enough.
Wait, can I guess? I have one guess, right? It's because the previous 2 goals were disallowed and the game kept going?
No.
Okay, how else can that happen?
That's a pretty good guess, though.
Thank you.
Even though it's not even close. Okay. So the NHL originally had a 5-on-5 20-minute overtime period. They started it in 1921. And then in 1927, they made it a 10-minute overtime period. And at the time, it was sudden death, just like we use now. However, the year after, in 1928, they actually changed it to a non-sudden death overtime period.
Is that how football works? Like the time runs out and it's whoever's winning at the end of it. So it's just like an extra period.
Yeah, basically.
Non-sudden death OT.
Non-sudden death overtime.
Okay.
And then if it ends in a draw after that, I think it just ended in a straight up tie. And then at one point they started giving each team 1 point if you draw at the end of it.
Okay. And how long was this period?
10 minutes.
Okay.
So
shit, somebody scored 10 or 3 in a 10-minute period, which, I'm sure has happened. I think the record hat trick, not even kidding, is like, I think it's 21 seconds.
I thought it's like 34 seconds, and it's the fastest natural hat trick as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Because obviously, how are you going to score a goal in between those 3 goals if they happen in 30 seconds?
Yeah, that's wild.
So in 1942, because of wartime restrictions with train schedules, because you couldn't go out after a certain time, overtime was eliminated from regular season play.
Ah, okay.
They still did the 20-minute sudden death in playoffs, but regular season, it was a draw or you win or lose. I don't know what is going on with this.
I wonder if that's because of the
website that I'm on.
That maybe the curfew was like geographical.
Probably.
Because like when you had boats off the coast in the Atlantic, you couldn't have lights on because it gave them something to shoot at.
Right. So
they had to get home in time. That's interesting.
40 years later, they re-implemented the 10-minute sudden death overtime, which was, so they only had the non-sudden death 10-minute period that lasted from 1928 until World War II.
So in the, what'd you say, 40 years later? So in the 80s, they tried a 10-minute overtime period?
Yeah.
Really?
And that was 5-on-5. And then it wasn't until 1999 that they went to 4-on-4.
Mm-hmm.
Which was similar to like the AHL did that for a while.
Yeah.
And then obviously, after the lockout, or it was 2015-16, they implemented the 3-on-3.
Yeah, but wait, you're telling me that before 1999, the regular season overtime period was 10 minutes long and not 5? I could have swore it was 5-on-5, 5-minute OT, which doesn't really get you anything if the previous 60 minutes of 5-on-5 didn't do anything. But people did win in overtime. And then if nothing happened, it ended in a draw. And we'd still have ties.
Right.
I just don't remember it being a 10-minute from like in my day from being a kid. I don't remember the overtime being 10 minutes.
We'll
be right back.
This time is 5-minute. Oh, wait a second. Oh, this thing's pissing me. Yeah, fucking scrap it.
We're done.
I don't know what's going on my fucking phone. This is stupid.
Oh, blame Steve Jobs' corpse.
So, okay. The 40 years later, the NHL re-implemented the OT period, this time with a 5-minute sudden death period. No, you're right. So I was wrong. My phone's been glitching out and it will like go up and down on this article that I'm reading. So every time I'm just trying to like gauge what it says while it's flickering.
So like it's running just from down here up to like a paid advertising. Yeah. It's like 10 minutes of this on an empty stomach will shed pounds in weeks. And then the NHL implemented grilled pineapple pizza.
Okay, so
in 2 weeks from now, get your Black Friday shopping done here.
It wasn't until the 80s.
Great history lesson.
When they had no overtime prior after World War II when they shut it down. They re-implemented the OT period with a 5-minute sudden death period, and that was 5-on-5. that continued until 1999 when they changed it to 4-on-4 for the regular season.
Yeah. And then you're getting into like a couple years later, you get the lockout. See, I had buddies. I distinctly remember this, talking to like 3 or 4 guys about this, like guys I'm in the fantasy league with right now. They were with the shootout, because everyone disliked the shootout. Everyone still dislikes the shootout, right?
Yeah.
So when complaining about the shootout, it always seemed to be a theme that they would go, see, I liked it back before they added the shootout, when it was just continuous periods until someone scored. And I'd be like, that's never been a thing.
It worked. Yeah.
They never had that. That's obviously playoffs, but they're like, no, dude, I swear I remember it being that. So for some reason, more than a couple people remember the NHL regular season overtime being continuous play until someone scored, which it had never, ever been.
No, it's never been the case.
Right. And that's how much they loathe the fucking shootout.
They just invented
their brain
this.
Is creating this great, make hockey great again, much like a lot of things, like we're going to go back to a time that didn't actually fucking exist. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the 4-on-4, when they changed it to that in 1999, that's when you would start to get a point each if you still tied at the end of it.
Okay.
If
Wait,
no one scored.
Did you get no points before that? If you ended in a tie, did both teams get no points?
Yeah.
There was really?
Yep.
See, that's why overtime, if you're not going to change anything in the format, it doesn't really make sense. Like, it's just 5 extra minutes of stalemate.
It's literally just,
why the fuck would that make a difference?
That reminds me of how soccer works. Because at the end of the 90 minutes, they will add, a certain amount of time depending on like how close the game is. They kind of gauge it. So like 3 extra minutes, 5 or 7 or whatever.
Does it have to do with stoppage too? Because the clock never stops.
Yeah, that too.
But the play can get held up with injuries and penalties.
So it's like, how much time have we wasted so far? Let's add that amount.
Why the hell would anything so drastically change? Because we've had 90 minutes of zeros.
You'd be surprised.
So this extra set.
Well, you know how it works.
I think it's it's a psychological thing.
Right. Because the last 5 minutes of a game that's been tied for 40 minutes, if you know that this is like this is crunch time, then everyone doubles down and tries that much harder. So,
yeah. So in that vein, I do wonder what the all-time record is for the 5-minute 5-on-5 OT in the NHL. What would that all-time record be? Like what's the percentage of games that actually ended in a goal coming during that time?
Versus tying at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, 4-on-4, that aided in it. But that's the beautiful thing I love about the adaptation of players and coaches and programs to the new rule changes that always try to create more fucking scoring, right? To presumably get non-hockey watchers to like hockey.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to make it like other sports and try and get a lot of scoring. Right. So we're going to do the trapezoid. We're going to, because that makes it harder for the goalie to play defense. Anything that causes more penalties, whatever. Or we're going to go 4-on-4 in the overtime. I'm sure there was an influx of scoring to begin with. But then when that ran its course, that's why they added the shootout, because like not enough shit was ending in overtime.
Right. Well, and like
with
you
a
said,
winner or a loser.
Players adapt so well that
it doesn't matter what you do.
Right. You would probably get the first 6 months of 4-on-4 being like, holy crap, this is crazy. Every team is scoring within the first 30 seconds because no one knows how to do this.
Yeah.
But then you figure it out.
Look how differently they play 3-on-3 right now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just.
At first it was total aggression, and now it's like you get the puck and you're going to hang back in your own zone until you see something clear as day where you have a lane to go through.
Like, it can get boring, but there's no rule that says you have to be reckless.
Right.
It's like, you know how hard it is to get this puck when it's 3-on-3? I'm not giving this fucking thing up.
And I'm not going to be the one to throw it away either.
Right. A good example of that attritional attitude where you hang on. Not too long ago, a couple games ago, when Detroit lost to Seattle in overtime with 4 seconds left.
Yeah, it's so
and they just bided their time, and then finally there was a play to be made.
Right. And it was a broken play too, because it was like just this freak thing happened, and all of a sudden you have this moment of let's capitalize on this, because that's the other thing about 3-on-3 is you have to be like hyper aware of those moments because they don't happen very often.
Mm-hmm.
But if the other team makes a mistake, like you got to pounce on that.
Right. And especially in that sense, because there was no time for Detroit to go down the ice and have a chance of their own if Seattle's gamble by taking that chance in that play had worked. So everything we just said can really, that can push home how you can take something so exciting as 3-on-3 and still turn it into something fucking boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely defensive.
So what are they going to do next?
Yeah.
But I guess they'll just keep calling penalties left and right.
Right. So to go back to the overtime thing, the craziest part about that story of the guy who scored 3 goals, and I think it was for Toronto, 3 goals, only hat trick in an overtime period ever. That player only had 4 goals in his entire career.
Yeah. Yeah. One hit wonder.
Yeah.
Fucking
like
right,
how,
dude.
But what a way to be as memorable as possible, even though I had never heard of a non-sudden death overtime period. So maybe not.
Memorable he is. I mean, what the hell was his name?
I'll have to look it up and we can post it on Instagram or something. But it's just, there's some wild stuff out there. When, a league that's been around for over 100 years, there's been some weird stuff that has gone through the managerial aspect of things.
Exactly. Weird stuff with weird. His name was probably like Beaver Dupuis or something like that. In the day, everyone had to have a fucking nickname.
Yeah. Beaver Dupuis.
So he's probably going to make some reoccurring performances on this podcast. Beaver Dupuis he might even show up as like the official spokesman of Gator Lake.
Right. Yeah.
Right. We haven't talked about Gator Plate in a long time.
Right. So
Beaver Dupuis is definitely a huge fan of Gator Face. So yeah. It's been a while.
Perfect.
Yeah. I could go for a good Gator Lane. Just where's Beaver?
I heard that Gator Trace is actually not good for you. And I shouldn't be saying this because we're sponsored by them, but
but it's probably like Power Blade said something like that. Yeah. So if Flower Face says it,
Power Blade.
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean Gator Trace is bad. Just ask old Beaver Dupuis.
Shower Lane is probably just as bad. So. Yeah, end it. That's it.
Oh man, good old Beaver Dupuis.
We gotta make like a little cartoon for that dude.
Yeah, Beaver Dupuis. Played for the Maple Leafs. Had his 3 of his 4 career goals in 1 overtime. One of the weirdest stats you could ever fucking think of.
Often found building dams in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting down trees with his teeth.
Why would you say